Whenever you talk about money problems, it feels like almost everyone jumps to the same place.
Yeah. What's that?
I just need to make more money.
Go.
That's always the
Oh,
answer, right? It
yeah.
feels like the simplest fix.
Uh-huh. It's the go-to. Easier than looking at what's happening right now.
Exactly. But looking through the stuff for this deep dive, it really seems like the bigger issue isn't always the paycheck size. It's more about not having a clue, like a real plan for the money you already have.
That's it. You get stuck in that loop, don't you? Get a raise, spend a bit more.
Yeah, the spending just sort of expands to meet the income. And honestly, it's chaos. That feeling of never knowing where it all goes, that's stressful. It costs you peace of mind.
Oh, absolutely. That sense of chaos just eats away at your goals.
Right.
And people try these really complex budgets sometimes, like zero-based budgeting.
Which can be great, I've heard.
It can be fantastic, yeah, but wow, it's intensive. So much detail, it's easy to burn out.
So you need something simpler.
We need something that works, but is also, well, straightforward. And that's where this 50-30-20 rule really shines, I think.
Okay.
It's genuinely one of the smartest systems because it cuts through all that noise. It gives you clarity, like right away, and control.
So we've really dug into this framework, the thinking behind it, how it works psychologically, the nuts and bolts.
We have.
And our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We're going to break this 50-30-20 thing down step by step, give you the details you need,
The goal is to help you stop wondering, where did my paycheck vanish?
and start actually budgeting like someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Today, finding that sweet spot where you can spend without guilt and save consistently.
Building that bit of breathing room, that margin to your finances, it's not just about restriction.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this.
All right, so first, what is it? At its heart, the 50-30-20 rule is just a really simple way to manage your income.
Simple. How?
It just says every dollar you bring home after taxes gets sorted into one of three pots, three categories.
Okay, 3 pots. What are they?
50%, the biggest chunk goes to your needs. These are the absolute must-haves, the things for stability.
Got it. 50% needs.
Then 30% is for wants. This is the
Yeah.
discretionary stuff, the
Yeah.
things that make life enjoyable, right? Helps you stick with the plan.
The fun money. Okay, 30%. That leaves 20%.
And that 20%, that's your future building category. Savings, paying down debt faster, that kind of thing.
Needs, wants, savings, debt. 50, 30, 20. It sounds intuitive.
It is. And the thinking behind it is really key to grasp right at the start.
Which is?
This isn't meant to feel like punishment. It's not about scarcity. The whole point really is balance.
Balance between
Enjoying life now and saving for the future. By specifically setting aside that 30% for wants, for eating out, hobbies, whatever, you kind of get rid of the guilt.
the guilt that comes when you spend money on something fun but feel like you maybe shouldn't have.
Exactly. Psychologically, it's huge. You know you can enjoy that dinner out or buy that thing because you've already taken care of your future self with the other parts.
Okay, that makes sense. It gives you permission to spend within limits.
Precisely. So, to make this work, you have to start in the right place. Step 1. You absolutely must figure out your after-tax income.
Right, not your gross salary before taxes and deductions. That number doesn't really help here.
It's irrelevant for this budget, yeah. People trip up on that all the time. You need to know what actually hits your bank account.
So strip out federal taxes, state taxes.
Health insurance premiums, if they come out automatically. And critically, any pre-tax contributions, like if you're putting money in a 401k or an HSA before taxes.
Okay, so that money's already doing its job before this budget even starts.
Exactly. The 50-30-20 applies to the money you actually have control over after all that stuff is gone. That's your starting number.
So let's say you put 10% into your 401k pre-tax. That 10% is handled. This 50-30-20 is calculated on the remaining 90% of your pay.
You got it. Which means you're already building for retirement before you even get to the 20% savings part of this rule. It's like a double layer of future-proofing.
That's powerful. Okay, let's make it concrete. The sources used an example, right? Like say $4,000 a month take-home pay.
Yeah, a nice round number. So if $4,000 is what actually lands in your account after taxes and deductions, the math is super simple.
50% for needs. That's $2,000, $2,000.
20% for wants. That's $1,200.
That's $100 for fun. Okay.
And 20% for savings and debt. That's $800 set aside for your future goals.
$2,000 needs, $1,200 wants, $800 savings debt. Just seeing it broken down like that.
It changes things, doesn't it? That's where the mindset shift starts. It's not one big pile of $4,000 that just seems to evaporate by the end of the month.
Right.
Now it's 3 specific amounts with specific jobs. That $800, its job is to grow or kill debt. The The $1,200, its job is enjoyment. The $2,000, stability. That clarity gives you a feeling of control right away.
Okay, let's dig into that biggest piece then. The 50% for needs. That's step 2, defining what actually counts as a need. And you have to be tough here, Ram.
You really do. This 50% is your foundation. Needs are the things you absolutely cannot live without. If you stop paying these, things fall apart quickly.
Like housing, rent, or mortgage payment.
Definitely. Utilities, water, electricity, heat, internet, arguably, in today's world. Basic groceries, we're talking sustenance, not fancy stuff.
Okay.
Transportation, to get to work bus pass, maybe gas and basic car payment. Insurance, health, car, renters, or homeowners. These are the costs to just, survive and function.
Now, there's something crucial here that trips people up. The sources say minimum debt payments also fall into this 50% bucket.
Yes, and this needs a bit of care. The minimum payments on things like credit cards, student loans, car loans, those are considered needs.
Why? I mean, if I'm just paying the minimum on a credit card with, 22% interest, that doesn't feel like a need for stability. It feels like I'm barely treading water.
That's a really fair point. The distinction is subtle, but important. Paying the minimum is a need because not paying it leads to default. And default hammers your credit score, makes it harder to get apartments, future loans, maybe even affects job prospects. So the minimum payment preserves your immediate stability, even if it feels lousy.
So the 50% is about avoiding immediate disaster, keeping the lights on, basically.
Exactly. That sinking feeling you mentioned, the high interest.
Yeah.
Tackling that aggressively is the job of the 20% savings debt category later on.
Ah, okay. So 50% keeps the wolves from the door. 20% is how you get rid of the wolves.
That's a good way to put it. So the 50% is the minimum defense. The 20% is the offense.
I got it. Now, the big elephant in the room. Lots of people, especially if you live somewhere expensive, are probably thinking 50%, my rent alone is more than that.
Yeah, the sources absolutely acknowledge this. It's a very common situation, especially in big cities or certain coastal areas. It's not a sign you've failed.
So what do you do then if your needs are already way over 50%?
The first thing is not guilt, it's awareness. The number itself tells you something important. It tells you where the pressure is.
Oh.
If your needs are structurally too high, say 60 or 65%, the system forces you to admit that the issue isn't skipping lattes, it's the big fixed costs. Those are what's eating up your financial breathing room.
So the budget flag's the real problem area. What are the strategies then, according to the research, for tackling those big fixed costs?
Well, it's usually about making structural changes, not just clipping coupons. Think in levels. Level 1 is optimization, meaning look hard at refinancing. If you have a high-interest car loan or maybe even a mortgage from a while back, can you get a new loan with a lower interest rate?
Right, so same car, same house, but the monthly payment drops.
Exactly. That instantly frees up space in that 50% bucket without changing your lifestyle much. Shop around for cheaper insurance rates, too. That fits here.
Okay, level 1, optimize. What's level 2?
Level 2 is reduction or elimination. This is where you audit things that might have crept into needs but aren't really essential.
Like that premium cable package you never watch?
Perfect example. Or maybe downgrading an expensive phone plan if you don't use all the data. Cutting subscriptions you forgot about. These might seem small, but they add up month after month.
Makes sense. And level 3. Sounds serious.
Level 3 is the most significant, yeah. It's reevaluating your housing situation. If rent or mortgage is consistently busting that 50% limit, the sources suggest exploring things like getting roommates, maybe downsizing,
Or even moving.
or even considering what some experts call geographic arbitrage. If your job allows remote work, could you move somewhere with a significantly lower cost of living? That can radically change your numbers.
Wow, okay. That's a big move, but potentially huge impact.
It is. But the key takeaway for this whole 50% section, the thing that makes it doable, is that it's about progress, not perfection overnight.
Right.
If you start out and your needs are 60%, your goal isn't to magically hit 50% next month. It's to analyze, find maybe $40 or $50 you can trim, and move a little closer.
That gradual improvement.
That's what makes it sustainable. It doesn't feel overwhelming that way.
Okay, so we've covered the essentials. Now, for the part that maybe makes this whole thing feel less like a chore, the 30% for once. Step 3.
Yes. And psychologically, this category is just critical. You cannot underestimate its importance.
This is the money for enjoyment, right? The things that stop you feeling deprived.
Exactly. Eating out, coffees, streaming services, vacations, shopping for clothes you don't strictly need, hobbies, movie tickets, concerts, all that stuff fits here.
And why is this so important? Seems like the first thing people cut when they budget.
It often is, and that's why so many budgets fail. This 30% is like a pressure release valve. If you try to cut out all enjoyment, you'll likely just abandon the whole budget within months. It's not sustainable.
Burnout.
Total burnout. The sources really stress this. Budgeting isn't supposed to be punishment. It's about giving yourself permission to spend consciously.
So instead of feeling guilty about buying something fun,
Right. If you've allocated, say, $1,200 in our example for wants, spending within that $1,200 is totally fine. It's planned for. You've already handled your needs and your savings.
it becomes conscious spending, not impulse spending you regret later.
Precisely. It helps you fight that thing economists talk about, hedonic adaptation, where new things stop making you happy quickly.
Yeah.
By consciously deciding what goes in your 30% wants bucket, you can focus that spending on things that genuinely bring you the most value and happiness, rather than just frittering it away.
You start asking, is this subscription worth more to me than saving that money towards that trip I want?
Exactly. You're making intentional choices about your happiness. That's empowering.
Okay, makes sense. Now let's shift to the powerhouse category. Step 4, the 20% for savings and debt. This is where the future gets built, right?
This is where the magic happens, really. This 20% is your tool for building wealth and achieving real financial freedom. It's actively working for you.
So what does this 20% cover specifically? It's not just one thing.
No, it covers several crucial moves, usually in a kind of priority order. First, building an emergency fund. Most sources say aim for 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses.
Super important safety net. Okay, what's next?
Next is funding retirement savings and investments. This is beyond any pre-tax contributions you might already be making.
Got it. And third, this seems key for a lot of people.
Third, and this is vital if you're carrying debt, using this 20% to pay extra towards your debts. Getting rid of them faster than just making those minimum payments we put in the 50% needs category.
Okay, let's pause there. Paying down debt faster. If someone has, say, high-interest credit card debt, 20%, 25% interest, should they focus this 20% entirely on that before investing for retirement?
Generally, yes. The consensus in the materials we looked at is pretty clear. Mathematically, paying off high-interest consumer debt offers an incredible guaranteed return.
How so?
Well, if your credit card charges 25% interest, paying down that debt is like earning a guaranteed risk-free 25% return on your money. You won't find that safely anywhere else.
Wow, okay. That's a strong argument.
So the typical advice is, get a small starter emergency fund first, maybe $1,000, just for immediate bumps. Then throw as much of that 20% as possible at the high-interest debt until it's gone. Then pivot to investing.
And when tackling that debt within the 20%, people talk about the snowball versus avalanche methods. Does the 50-30-20 rule prefer one?
The framework itself doesn't dictate how you attack the debt, just that you use the 20% allocation to do it. The sources usually cover both methods.
Remind us quickly.
Sure. Debt avalanche is mathematically faster. You pay extra on the debt with the highest interest rate first. Saves the most money in the long run.
Makes sense.
Debt snowball is psychologically powerful for many. You pay extra on the debt with the smallest balance first, regardless of interest rate. You get quick wins, knocking out debts completely, which builds momentum.
So avalanche saves more money. Snowball might keep you motivated better.
Exactly. The 50-30-20 supports either one. The key is consistently using that 20% chunk to accelerate the payoff, whichever way you choose.
Okay. Now, what if someone's listening and thinking, 20% for savings and debt, there's no way I can do that right now, especially if money's really tight.
That's a common starting point. And the advice is clear. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. If 20% is impossible today, start smaller.
Like how small?
Try 5%. If even that's tough, find 1%. The amount isn't the most critical thing at the very beginning. It's the habit.
Like exercise, right? Showing up consistently matters more than lifting the heaviest weight on day one.
Perfect analogy. Saving 5% consistently month after month is infinitely better than trying for 20%, failing, and giving up. Build the habit, build the muscle. You can increase the percentage later as things improve.
Build that consistency. Okay, so we've defined the buckets, 50, 30, 20. We know what goes where. Now, how do we actually make it happen? This is where budgets often die, isn't it? The execution.
It absolutely is. Which brings us to maybe the most practical, game-changing step. Step 5, automate everything.
Automate.
Seriously, if you take only one action item from this whole discussion, make it this one. Automation is your secret weapon.
Why is it so powerful?
Because it removes the biggest enemy of any budget, your own emotions and decision fatigue. You can't accidentally spend money on wants if it's already been whisked away to savings before you even see it.
Okay, so how does this automation work in practice? It's more than just setting up bill pay, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a system. Think in layers again. Layer 1, talk to your HR department. Can you split your direct deposit?
So part goes to checking, part goes somewhere else.
Exactly. Have that 20% for savings debt sent directly to a separate savings account, maybe even at a different bank, or to your investment account. It never even touches your main checking account. Out of sight, out of mind.
Clever. Okay, layer 1, split direct deposit. Layer 2.
Layer 2, automate transfers within your accounts. On payday, set up an automatic transfer to move the 30% once money from your main checking account into maybe a separate checking account, or even just mentally earmark it.
So you can clearly see you're spending money
Yeah.
separate from your bill money.
Precisely. It helps create those mental buckets.
And layer 3, this must be the bills.
Layer 3 is locking down that 50% needs category. Put everything you possibly can on autopay. Rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, minimum loan payments.
Why autopay everything?
2 reasons. 1, it ensures stability. The essential bills always get paid. 2, it avoids late fees.
Yeah.
Late fees are just throwing money away. Guaranteed negative return. Automation prevents that.
Okay, automate paycheck splits, automate internal transfers, automate bill payments. That sounds pretty hands-off once it's set up.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
But it's not completely set it and forget it. That leads to step 6, review and adjust monthly.
Ah, okay, so you can't just let the automation run forever without checking in.
Right. Budgets aren't static things carved in stone. They're living systems because your life changes, right? You get a raise, maybe your rent goes up, you pay off a car loan, your income or expenses shift.
And if you don't update the budget, it stops reflecting reality.
Exactly. It becomes useless. So once a month, maybe for 30 minutes, you need to sit down and just check in.
What are you looking for in that review?
You're comparing your actual spending against those 50-30-20 targets. Did you stick to them? Ask yourself some specific questions.
Why?
Like, did I blow the wants budget this month? Why? Was it a one-off thing like a vacation, or do I need to adjust? Or am I still managing to save the full 20%? Or did something unexpected eat into that? Did any needs change? Like, did my insurance premium go down?
So you're looking for deviations and reasons.
Yeah. And then you decide if you need to tweak the plan for next month. Maybe you overspent on wants, so next month you consciously pull back a bit. Or maybe you paid off a loan, so now you can redirect that payment into savings.
So what does this all mean? It sounds like the review isn't about beating yourself up if you went over.
Absolutely not. That's critical. The review is about gathering feedback, gathering data. It's not about judgment or guilt.
If you went over on eating out, okay, that's information. Now you can decide what to do next month.
Exactly. The budget is a guide, not a whip. Use the review to gently steer things back on course or to adjust the course if your circumstances have genuinely changed.
That makes it feel much more achievable. Use it as feedback.
That's the way. And speaking of adjustments, we really need to talk about flexibility too. This 50-30-20 is a fantastic starting point, but it's not a rigid prison.
It doesn't have to be exactly those numbers.
No, the sources are very clear on this. It's a blueprint, but you might need to adapt it based on your income level or your specific goals right now.
Like what kind of situations?
Well, think about someone maybe just starting out, lower income, perhaps with significant student debt they're trying to tackle.
Okay.
For them, maybe needs realistically take up 60%. They might have to push wants down a bit,
Yeah.
and maybe they can only manage 10% for savings debt initially.
So maybe a 60-30-10 split for a while?
Could be, or 602-515. The
Right.
point is, they're still consciously categorizing, they're still prioritizing something for the future, even if it's not the full 20% yet. They're building the habit.
Right, the habit is key. What about the other end? High-income earners.
Good question. If you earn a lot, your essential needs, housing, food, etc., might naturally only take up, say, 35% or 40% of your take-home pay.
Which leaves a lot left over.
A huge amount. So you wouldn't necessarily just inflate your wants to 30% and save 20%. This is where you can really accelerate.
Yeah.
You might adjust the ratio to something like 40-30-30, or even 50%, needs 20%, wants 30% savings and investment, or more towards savings. You use that surplus strategically to turbocharge debt repayment or investing.
So the percentages can shift, but the principle remains.
Exactly. The real power isn't hitting 50.0% on the dot every single month. The power comes from the habit of intentionally deciding where every dollar is going to go. It forces you to be mindful and accountable.
That makes sense. It's the act of planning itself.
Which leads us nicely into the final section, really, section 5, the deeper impact. This isn't just about organizing numbers on a spreadsheet. It actually changes how you feel about money.
It rewires your mindset, you mean?
It really does. We touched on this, but let's highlight the big psychological wins the sources talk about.
Win number 1.
Confidence instead of guilt. Remember that. When you spend money from your 30% wants bucket, whether it's $50 on dinner or $500 on a weekend trip.
You don't have that nagging feeling in the back of your head.
None. Because you know it's accounted for. You know your needs are covered. Your savings goal is being met because it's automated. That spending becomes stress-free.
That alone sounds amazing. Okay, benefit number 2.
Clarity instead of wondering. Getting rid of that awful, where did all my money go feeling at the end of the month.
Yeah, that pit in your stomach.
Gone. Because you can literally look at your system, your accounts, your plan, and see exactly where it went. X amount for stability, Y amount for enjoyment, Z amount for growth.
That clarity must feel incredibly empowering.
It is. It transforms that feeling of financial chaos into a sense of control and predictable progress. One paycheck at a time, you're building order.
So once you've got the basic 50-30-20 habit down, the automation's running, the reviews are happening, what's next? Step 7 is about upgrading.
Yeah, you don't just stay there forever. This system is a foundation, and you build on it. It's designed to scale with you as you progress towards financial independence.
What does upgrading look like?
It means setting bigger, more sophisticated goals as your income grows or debt disappears. You move beyond just filling the basic emergency fund.
Towards investing more seriously.
Exactly. Fully automating contributions to max out tax-advantaged accounts like Roth IRAs or your 401k. Maybe opening taxable brokerage accounts, making sure that 20% or more, if you've adjusted, is consistently flowing into assets that can grow over time.
Harnessing compound interest.
That's the engine right there. Once that 20% plus is consistently working for you in investments, the momentum really starts to build almost on its own.
And the ultimate goal of all this, the sources were pretty clear. It wasn't just about having a neat budget.
Not at all. The ultimate goal is freedom.
Freedom from?
Freedom from financial stress, definitely. Freedom from the burden of high-interest debt. And maybe the biggest one, freedom from constantly worrying about what if.
What if the car breaks down? What if I have a surprise medical bill?
Right. When you have that emergency fund topped up, thanks to your consistent 20% savings and maybe investments growing, those what ifs become manageable bumps in the road. They're inconveniences, not catastrophes that derail your entire life.
That sounds like a much calmer way to live.
It truly is. That's the real prize.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive,
Yeah.
let's boil it down. The core idea seems to be, stop waiting for a lottery win or a massive raise to fix your finances.
Start now.
Master the money you have right now, and the 50-30-20 rule gives you a simple, powerful framework to do that.
It finds that balance, doesn't it? Living well today while actively building a secure future.
So, the challenge to you listening.
Yeah, let's issue a challenge. Just try it. Pick your next paycheck. Sit down, figure out your take-home pay, calculate the 50%, 30%, and 20%.
Just do that first step of assigning the dollars.
And just see how it feels. See if that little bit of clarity starts to boost your confidence, just knowing where things are supposed to go.
And remember those 3 pillars the sources kept coming back to.
Right. Control brings peace. Knowing you're directing your money reduces anxiety.
Clarity brings power. Understanding where your money works gives you agency.
And consistency builds freedom. Sticking with the plan, even starting small, is what creates real, lasting financial independence.
It's a journey, but it starts with that first paycheck, that first decision to categorize.
Absolutely. Start today. Your future self is going to be incredibly grateful you did.
Don't forget to subscribe. And thanks for watching.